Light as a feather, stiff as a board. Light as a feather, stiff as a board.
We are the weirdos, mister.
Black as night, erase death from our sight. White as light, mighty hectate make it right.
I myself am strange and unusual.
Cast a circle, spark some incense, and grab a cup of tea. It's time for the Cousins Coven podcast. I'm Sharon.
And this is Wendy. Welcome back to the Coven, you guys. We're happy to have you here as always.
Yay! Here we are in the midst of winter, I'd say. Here in Oregon, things are cold and the leaves are falling.
Yeah, all the leaves fell off of my tree in the front yard. Like, all of them in a couple of days. It was crazy.
Yeah, and we've had crazy winds recently too, so there's just like sticks and everything all everywhere.
Yeah, and shingles. I don't know about you, but in my neighborhood, there's just shingles that flew off of people's roofs. So like there's a neighbor down the street, and like I would say a good chunk, like not half, but maybe a quarter of their shingles fell off, and I was like, dang.
I'd say that's some cheap roofing right there. Or maybe just really bad winds.
Yeah. It was bad because they're in this little cul-de-sac area where the wind gets stuck.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
And so in their section, it's a little bit worse than the rest of the neighborhood.
Yeah, that sucks.
I shouldn't be laughing. I wish them well.
Right. It's just kind of interesting to see how nature is going and the changes and everything like that. Mm-hmm. So I had to tell you some fun stuff I did last week.
Okay.
I know I mentioned it to you, but I was like, I have to save it for podcasts.
Yeah.
I was telling Wendy I went over to Dallas to go visit like a witchy shop, the Crystal Mirror. Went with my boyfriend and his friends who are witches, and so they were really excited to like take me because I'm like the new person in their group. They're like, oh, you know, we gotta take her to the witch shop, and so I was so excited to go.
That's nice.
And I have never been in the Crystal Mirror. For any locals, it used to be in Salem, Oregon. I believe the Reed Opera House.
And like the Reed in the basement.
I never went, and I finally got to go. So we drove over to Dallas and went in, and they had like all these cool statues and just like a plethora of crystals and incense and tapestries and just like all the stuff that makes you feel at home, like, oh, these are my people kind of vibes. So such a cool store. I was just kind of going to like hang out and like just see what was be seen. I wasn't like going really like, oh, I need supplies or I need to shop. But while I was there, I decided to get some kind of cheap things because, like I said, I wasn't really looking to buy. So I got some like a little tarot card bag that had the goddess on it, like the goddess symbol, and that was really pretty. And then some incense and some candles. And then while I was there, my boyfriend, he was like, oh, I really want a tapestry. So I got like this big green tapestry. And then I noticed he was like whispering to the guy like who worked there, and I was like, oh my god, I feel like this is something for me. And so I like back off because I'm like, let me let this happen. Like, am I about to get a surprise right now? And so like I see him whispering, and then he gets a bag, like a big ass bag, and I'm just gonna play it dumb. Like, I didn't see anything happen, nothing's happening. He's got a big bag. Okay, let's just go. And I let it go. And then like later that evening, after everything's said and done from hanging out, like we go home, and he's like, I think you should go look at that bag. And I'm like, okay. And so like I pull out the tapestry, and then under the tapestry there's this tall long box, like a really long box, like maybe 13 inches tall.
Whoa.
And I can tell it's something in freaking foam. And so my head goes to statue, and I'm starting to get really overwhelmed. I dip the box over to like slowly let the foam pieces out. I pull it apart, and it's a freaking like gold bronze pan statue.
Oh my god.
And I like got all teary-eyed and wanted to cry because that's like my favorite god that I love to worship to, the horn god. And I'm just like, I've never had like a proper thing to worship, like a statue. Like I literally had like a printed off paper picture of him in a frame
forever.
That was kind of like nerdy, and now I have like this badass statue, and it was like the coolest gift I've gotten in years. And I was just like so excited. And I just kept it at his house because I knew like my parents would be so weirded out if I have this fucking statue at home. And like,
don't you just feel weird though? Because we were adults. We were like grown people.
Yes, this is my life. I'm a millennial who's crashing at her mom's house, who is anything but pagan. not really appreciative of magic, and so there's a suppression aspect going on in my life for quite a while.
Yeah.
But I was so thankful to get that statue for my boyfriend, and that's like, it was just the sweetest thing ever. And so we're keeping it at his house for now.
Yeah. It's like your baby. Except for much easier to take care of.
Yes.
Pam just requires, some sex.
Right. I let him watch. So I was just so thrilled and thought you would appreciate that.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah, I know you've been to that shop before, but not the new location.
I have. So, I'm curious, was it a large shop? I'd
say so.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
I
don't know the old size of the old place. I'd only seen it in Google Photos before because I had an intention to go on one of my visits to Oregon. My friend was like, I'm going to take you to the shop, but they just happened to be closed for my, weekend visit.
Yeah.
So I had seen pictures. I'd say it's about the same size.
Okay, cool.
Or bigger.
Do you know if they still offer classes and things like that? Because they used to offer tarot classes, or they'd have get-togethers and that kind of thing. I'm wondering if they still offer that, or because of COVID, maybe they don't.
I didn't notice any signs or anything, but that doesn't mean that they're not there. It was really weird when we got there. There was probably one other person, and then it was like all of this hive mind of all these witches arriving. The store got flooded really quickly, and yes, we had face masks on and social distancing, but it was like, whoa, did we just bring all this business? And it was really cool to see that place flourishing, even in a city like Dallas that I always had connotations of it not being open to outside thinking, witchcraft and things like that. It was really cool to see it thriving in COVID times. In a town that is very conservative. Right. And so that is even amazing in itself. An extremely conservative town. And, we're talking they used to do hangings right there in the downtown area. Right. Yeah, in the early 1900s. Right, and we've even talked about a hanging tree and doing some ghost busting kind of stuff in Dallas before, and so that was my last time being in Dallas was with you, and so I was like, dang, we should have went to this shop, knowing it was right here on this main street. I forget about it. Yeah, it was really cool. So I do a lot of online shopping, I'll admit, but I think it's really cool as witches if we can support our local shops. For sure. If you feel safe and comfortable to go out at these times, but if you don't, I totally understand that. I know. We even have a place in the mall that I was kind of telling you about earlier called Kathmandu, and what I like about that place is it's tapestries and incense, and they have statues in there. I don't know if you've seen them, but at the register area, they have all these statuaries, and they have the singing bowls, and they have all these kind of supplies that you can get. I know it's a mall place, but that's locally owned. Right. And it's the only one of its kind of that store. It's not like it's a chain. Right, exactly. And so I feel like it's still supporting my little person. Yeah. And I've seen them grow, because I think their first shop was in the 80s, and they had just this one little room. And now they've got this huge space where they can really roam around in. Yeah, it is awesome, because every town has that kind of local flavor, and as you grow up and get older, you can see things kind of just fade away, and know that it was probably just that one owner got tired or couldn't do it anymore for whatever reason, so it's just gone. Right. So it's really cool that if you can help be a part of that system and keep it going. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So we have some transitioning and some news to talk about today, right? So we do. We have decided to take a break from podcast for a little while. Yes. I know for myself, I've just been busy with work. Right. I feel like you've been busy. Yes. And we've been just kind of going. We haven't had a break on the podcast in a really long time, a significant break in over a year. So we've been wanting to put out content after content for you guys, but I feel like we need to take a step back. I think we've decided cohesively that we need to take a step back. Yeah, with the main feed and our Patreon, we were doing 6 episodes a month and talking ourselves out completely to where I felt like I was all talked out, all edited out, just a little burnt out. Yeah. But we still love the Coven. Obviously, we still love each other. We still love everything we talk about. So I want to come back maybe with a fresh perspective later That being said, we are going to keep the Patreon going.
Yeah.
That is a commitment we feel like we've made to the patrons, and we're going to keep that going, and that keeps the Coven alive for us as well.
Right.
We were talking about today how we did want to freshen it up just for ourselves because, you know, it does get a little redundant when we kept doing the same thing for the last couple of years as far as just discussing paranormal and all that.
Right.
So Wendy had a great idea to just kind of keep things going, keep it fresh.
Yeah.
And,
so
yeah.
I'm thinking that we'll probably do a couple of spells together. We'll do some tarot readings, and thanks to some lovely supporters, we've gotten some equipment that was much needed in order for us to be able to do this. And I mean, Michelle, you know who you are. So.
Thank you so much, Michelle. It's so sweet that we have people out there who are supporting us, and that's part of the reason we didn't want to like let everything go. Like, we just needed to take a little step back so we could balance our personal lives, our work lives,
and reevaluate. I feel like not business, but everything that you do in your life that you're passionate about, sometimes you have to step back and reevaluate. It's just the same with relationships. Like, this is why couples sometimes renew their vows, because they're reevaluating.
Oh, we have like a vow renewal coming up for the Cousins Coven. Yeah, no, totally, because it's just like witchcraft and the wheel of the year. Like, everything is really cyclical for me, and we've been going at such a pace, but it does have to change. And so on Patreon, we're going to look towards having video content and actually having content you could watch us doing, like maybe a full moon spell together that we'll invite our patrons to do with us, or things like that, and different kind of things over there. So maybe not just the after show anymore, but it'll keep evolving. So if you're interested, the links will be below. And if not, we're talking about maybe coming back for seasons, but it's all up in the air, because right now we're just in break mode. We got to let it simmer. And maybe in the spring we'll have more answers for you guys, whether we're working on a small little season or not, back for the main feed. But we will keep in touch. So you can always reach out to us still on all of our social media platforms. We're going to keep that Cousins Coven Gmail going, and the Coven is still very much alive. So even though we're not going to be weekly coming at you, we'll have at least 2 episodes of something over on the Patreon.
And on top of it, you know, don't forget that email is for your use, whether you need some advice, whether you have a ghost situation going on or some sort of paranormal situation going on and you need some help. I know for me personally, I've gotten several emails and I've been able to say, hey Sharon, we got this, let's talk about it, and then come back and we respond. So
yeah, I know you've been really active over there, giving people great advice and always keeping an eye on what's coming in. So we appreciate all of you listeners. Like, I don't feel like I could fully ever say bye to you guys. And shout out to SciFi Buddha. I feel like it's the cutest thing, because you're always slowly catching up on our season 1 still, but I see you liking the episodes as we go, and it'll be like the sweetest thing, like, yes, we got another like from SciFi Buddha. I see you, you're still working through these seasons, and one day in like 2 years you're gonna hear this one.
I'm a little bit behind on getting them up on WordPress. I think over there we're on episode 74, but this is episode 104.
Can you imagine? We got to the hundreds.
Yes,
so
I know.
I'm really proud of like where we started and where we've come from, and even just like looking back at everything, I can see that I've grown a lot as a person, and found my voice even more, and found just trusting my intuition more than ever through all of the conversations we've had collectively. Like, I just know that I don't think about like the rules in witchcraft like I used to. I just think like, oh, what feels right in witchcraft, and what am I going to do for myself?
It's more intuitive instead of, oh, by the book.
Or always wondering, what did other people do? I have to do what other people did. Like, I can figure it out. Like, I can do my own way. And I think that's kind of, for me, what I've wanted the Coven to be for listeners. Like, a safe place for everyone to figure out what is good for them, and not have to listen to a set of rules. And for it to be okay for us to be the misfits and the weirdos, and you're not alone.
And non-judgmental, man. I've had so much judgment in my life from just even believing in the paranormal.
Yes.
Or believing that I know that I can talk to ghosts how much ridicule I've had to hear my whole life, that I'm just crazy.
Yeah, I can't even imagine, because not having that paranormal connection in the sense that you had, like, it's only been the last couple of years when I really worked towards it, but for you it's been your whole youth and growing up and having people probably tell you something's wrong with you or you need to be exercised or whatever, like
medicated. Yeah,
so
and this has been a really good outreach for me. Like, I've never really branched out when it comes to this kind of stuff because of the ridicule that I've had. So for me, this coven's been great because now I meet other like-minded people, and I don't think I can get that from my community of the town that we live in, but I can get it in a greater spectrum of the world.
Right.
You know? This world has billions of people in it.
Yeah. And it took, I feel like, a little bit of braveness for two shy girls to get on the internet and say what we believe and what we think, even when it's like out there, and know that, dang it, my mom's listened to this and she knows my secrets now. And
right. Same.
At the same time, it's been liberating and freeing, and I've met more witches in my real life than ever. The more I put out there of myself, the more I get in my reality, and I really thank the Coven for that, and I'm glad we were able to support each other and like just put those vibes out for others.
Yeah, it's been lovely.
Yeah.
And I mean, think of everything that we've accomplished. Like, I cannot even tell you how many EBPs we've gotten. Even in the last week, we had, I think it was, I'm trying to remember, there was 2 episodes ago I was editing, and back to back.
We were talking about like twin flames, right? You told me.
No, it was another one. It was on a Patreon episode 2 episodes back, not the one that just aired, but the one before that. We were talking about things that you can do for fall magic. Do you remember that?
A little bit.
You let people know for the first time that you had a boyfriend, and that
Patreon got it first.
Yeah, and so we were kind of talking about that and talking about some other things, and then we literally had 3 back-to-back EVPs that I didn't even play for you, I think. So I was wondering, should we play them and just...
We can.
Edit them in?
Yeah, we definitely can.
Let me see if I can find it really quick. So...
Bubble goes.
Yeah, okay, so there was a situation where in the after show, this is what started it all. You were talking about something, and I heard a noise on your end that you didn't hear. And I was like, it sounded like bubbles. And you were like, oh, was it this? And you played your keyboard, and I was like, yeah, I think that's it. But when I was playing it back in my headphones, they were not the same thing.
Oh.
So it was like, we heard that, and then I heard 2 other EVPs shortly after that. So within this like 5 or 6 minute time span, we caught 3 EVPs. 2 on your end and 1 on mine.
Weird.
Like, they were communicating with us and with each other.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So I have them here, and I've got my headphones in.
Okay, I'm gonna come closer to the computer over here.
I'm not quite there, and so yeah, I'm definitely still healing.
It's like that Britney Spears song. You're not a mother, but not yet a crone. Oh, that was horrible, guys. I'm so sorry.
No. Was there a strange noise on your side that sounded like weird bubbling?
Possibly.
It was...
Okay.
Do you need it again?
No, I'm thinking,
Okay.
should I talk about it now or move back, or should I listen to the other ones?
Were they not all on the same
Oh, that
one?
was it.
I think that was all it.
Okay. So I'm gonna move back before I comment.
I'm thinking it was all it.
Because it's like boom, 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 like
yeah,
that.
it was all really quick.
I heard like, it sounded like dun, 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 like that.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay, so I've heard the little noises.
Okay.
Do you think it was a vocalization, like a little grumble? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, and then there was a second one that said, I swear it said air. Did you hear that one?
I couldn't make out what it was saying.
Okay. I swear it was like air, air, air. And I was like air. It just said air once. And then when I played it back to the back again, and it was back to me. It sounded like air, air, air.
Oh
air.
my god, he's like chanting for the elements.
Yes.
That's so cool.
Wind, fire.
Yes, always comes back to the craft. How they're like each chanting their element in the circle. I love that shit where they're just like water, water, earth, air, air.
Yeah. Yeah.
That stuff is so fun. Like, it doesn't make sense when we're editing because it's always some weird anomaly that's not us or us making a noise.
Right.
But, like, it's never, for me, clear enough for me to be like, it's definitely saying this, but there's just, like, there's something there.
But there's something there.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait. And when you're editing these things back, you guys, it's just crazy because anybody who's edited can see what the pitch looks like when somebody's talking, and when you've got this blank space where nobody's talking and you hear something but it doesn't really register on there as vocalization, that's when I'm just like, what?
Yeah, there's been times where I've gotten straight up chills from the voices before, and then there's other times where I'm like so over it because it's just so normal where I'm like,
Right. I hate to say that. And I'm so behind in posting a lot of them. Like, I was posting them all on our website, but I think I'm like 30 or so behind, it feels
like I haven't even been helpful on that, so I can't I haven't even helped. So this is the kind of stuff we're talking about. Like, we just have so much extra work from doing this for so long that we feel a little bogged down.
Right.
But
it's like I have a plate and it's overflowing with things to do, but I have no time to do that. And all the things that are in my regular life.
Right. Like, I came over here without a shower, didn't do my laundry.
Right.
I just can't even be a human sometimes with all the things I have to do.
Right.
But I love this podcast, and we love the Coven, so we're going to keep it going to capacity for what we can.
Or whatever we can.
Yeah, so it's just a little bit of a modification, so.
Yeah.
How else do you feel like, what else has this podcast really changed or brought to our lives?
I mean, let's talk about, for you, your belief in certain things that you didn't have before.
Yeah, I think that when we would start, there was such a hesitance for me to, like, have Bible talks and angel talk and demon talk, because I was always just like, fuck the Bible, fuck it, I don't want to talk about what man decided was our beliefs. They crushed the pagans, and and now, like, talking to you and how you like to do Enochian magic and how you talk to spirits and how you undemonize them, it's like you're in this gray area almost where it's like, are they all the same thing? Are spirits and demons and angels and aliens all one? So it's definitely broadened my mind to not be so black and white, which is always good. I feel like part of deconditioning your brain is not looking at everything as good, bad, because it's not what life really is.
Right.
It's more like nature, where it's like, yeah, rain is great, but rain can be destructive if it's too much and it causes floods. I feel like it's just not as simple as a church's agenda of trying to control people's minds, like, so in that sense, I think there's been a lot of growth, opening up to things and not trying to label them or reject them entirely.
Right.
What were you thinking?
This little sliver of information. Yeah. On the religious aspect, for me, it's made me become more appreciative of other people's religions. Like, I didn't think I would ever get to that point. To be honest with you, I was really closed off when it came to thinking that it was okay for other people to have different religions. But then I started thinking that I don't have a problem if somebody wants to be a specific gender or love a specific person that's out of what society tells us is the norm. Isn't religion just the same as that in a way? Or whatever belief that you want to have in the government, or this or this or this, isn't everybody entitled to their own opinion and their own belief? And so if I want people to accept me and stop shitting on me for what I believe, I feel like I have to stop shitting on them for what they believe.
Right, which is always easier said than done. Like,
yeah, for sure. Believe me, I still have my moments. Don't get me wrong.
Right, because it's easier to think, oh, well, your perspective is the right one because that's what feels right for me. And it can be a challenge to, like, accept other people. It's like when someone is vegan, maybe, and they try to, like, convince everyone around them to be vegan. It's like, that's fine. But I think we have to just accept each other, like, accept that person for being vegan, and let
Right.
the vegan accept the person who wants to eat steak. Like,
Exactly.
I don't know, we all gotta be just chill to let each other make each other's decisions and not try to convince each other all the time.
Right. Right. We should just believe what we want.
Yeah.
It doesn't make us a horrible person.
Right.
We didn't murder anybody in the process.
Just
You know?
cows. I don't know.
Yeah, okay. But I mean paranormally.
Oh, yeah,
We
yeah.
didn't murder anybody in the process by getting where we're at.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We didn't break any laws, so to speak.
I definitely feel like as far as another evolution, like, I looked into aliens more than I ever did in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I could say now that I believe the aliens have been to Earth, whereas before I was more like, oh, I think I believe in aliens, but I don't know if they've come.
Right.
But, like, I literally took Betty and Barney Hill's stories so seriously. I'm like, yeah, no, aliens are here. Yeah, the
Yes.
Mothman, he was here and he's a fucking alien. Like, I thank the podcast for giving me an excuse to dive into certain topics that I never would have dived into before.
Right, for sure. I definitely found a million places that I really want to go to. Like, is there a way we can go to Skinwalker Ranch so I can see it with my own eyes?
Yeah.
You know, those kinds of things.
Yeah.
Can I get in touch with people and start to get to know them?
It would be a lot of fun to get hands-on and do more, I think, as far
Yeah.
as traveling and investigating. And I think that there's a lot of cool stuff going on just in our own backyard.
Right.
But with COVID, like, we really haven't done much other than go to a graveyard.
Yeah, this was our year. This was the year that we said we were going to travel and do things, and we haven't been able to do any
right.
of the things that we wanted to do because of COVID.
We wanted to go to Salem, Massachusetts.
Yeah.
And I think we both just let that go.
We wanted to do things in our own state, and
Yeah.
we had to even let those things go.
Yeah.
You know, when a museum is closed that you really want to go to, but you can't.
Right.
When they shut down the forest because there's massive fires, and a lot of that stuff still isn't even open to the public.
Yeah. We still got to make a trip to the Bigfoot Museum.
Yeah.
That will happen. Let's just hope they can stay in business for us.
Yeah. There's just all these things, and COVID really changed everything for a lot of people. And for some people, it enlightened them. And some people, it made them worse. I feel like for me, it's made me worse in some ways and better in others.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I'm still, you guys, trying to find a place to live. And COVID has made it really difficult to even do that.
I feel a little bit the same way. Like, being at home with my mom, I would like to move out, but it's just like hard to find places in your price range, hard to find places that are available.
Right.
And I know your clock is ticking on your lease.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just been a real struggle all year with different things, and in other ways, some good growth.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that I haven't been meditating as much as I did when we first started doing podcasts.
Oh, yeah. Like, when I was fresh out of yoga school and doing yoga, like, 3 days a week at minimum. And, like, now I feel like I barely have time to do that for myself. And when I make time for it, I always feel really good. But, like, I just want to do nothing sometimes when I come home from my job because it's so mentally taxing.
Right.
That all I want to do is just, like, kind of lay in bed and watch YouTube, and not even be watching YouTube, scroll on my phone and, like, internet shop. Like, I just want to be, like, the most potato zombie.
Right.
And that's how I think where I'm at, too. It's just, like,
We're in this zombie
I'm
mode.
in a zombie winter mode. I gotta just get my life together.
Right. Just gotta take a breath, a breather.
Yeah.
And readjust, refocus.
Right. Like, I'm lucky to be an essential worker during COVID because I'm employed.
Yeah, me
But,
too.
man, would I love to just not have to
Yeah.
go to work.
I went from 20 hours a week to almost 40 hours a week, which to some people is like, whoa, big deal, because I have to do 40 to 60 hours a week all the time. But for me, it was a big deal because it made it so that I can't do the things that I want to do.
Right.
And I still have other obligations. I can't quit all of my obligations just because I'm working.
Yeah.
You know?
I know.
So.
It is hard. I know, like, our goal in life was to try to not have to have muggle jobs and
Yes.
to somehow make being a guru witch a thing, but like, you know, reality doesn't always line up with that.
No.
And so we still have to have our jobs, and
yeah,
we'll figure it out. We'll get there.
I'm still going to talk. Next year, my goal is to try to talk you into making your own Enochian seal, but maybe for pan. A pan seal.
Then maybe take a like pan-seared, like...
Yeah. It'll just be for pan.
That'd be cool. Like green or something.
Yeah, greens. And a little flecks of yellow or gold in there.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
And
that'd be
then,
smart. Get some gold candles, green candles.
And then put offerings inside the seal. Like you would put like leaves and other things.
Acorns.
And whatever seal, whatever pan, not whatever seal. Whatever pan is for you, whatever pan brings into your life, that's what the seal would represent.
Oh my gosh.
So
that is awesome.
That would be paying homage to pan all year round.
Okay. I think this is going to happen.
And so when I first started doing the Enochian magic, I didn't know what it was, right? And like I read all these books and I'm like, I'm just going to conform to your rules. I'm going to do this my way and I'm going to call it Enochian magic. I don't know if that's what it is, if I formed my own new way of thing.
But I think it's just modernizing it, right?
Just modernizing it. So now I have my seal that does one thing and it's connected to Clarissa's seal. And her seal does another thing. Now, if we put yours in there, yours would be connected to our seals. And we would all benefit from it.
Okay. So I think when I get my own place, maybe that's when we can start constructing a seal.
And then I just make classes and everybody does their own seal and we have these magical powers all over the world. That would be amazing to me.
That'd be fun. Maybe by the time we're making mine, we could put something on Patreon. Like, because it takes a long time.
It does.
So we could do a mini demonstration of it on video or something.
Right. We could do, just keep layering. Just keep doing this until you see fit.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be rules. There doesn't have to be a massive amounts of rules to go along.
It's just kind of like give people some sort of a basic idea and they can launch it off. And the seal, if maybe you're like, what are they talking about? Wax seal, drip pouring wax. And it was just congealing into almost look like a wax hunk of cake almost because it was just so big, and putting all this intention and energy into it in a purpose. So I'm like, what would a pan seal be? It's just like badass sex and indulgence? I don't know. I gotta figure it out.
Whatever he means to you. I mean, because when I think of pan, and maybe I get him confused with the Green Man sometimes.
I feel like they're similar and they can be one and the same.
Exactly. And so I think nature. And what would that look like? Maybe a seal would be an energy that could continually heal the earth, or continually bring earth into your life, or make you appreciate things more.
Yeah, maybe a grounding and protection. There's so many things you could do.
Because I find now that with Clarissa's seal has set off this whole new thing for me.
Really?
So now her seal was to take away the negative things in your life and to take all the things that no longer suit you, almost like the Tower card, and takes that out of your life so that you no longer have it and you're starting something new. And immediately that's what things are happening in my life. As soon as I started doing that, I was like, fuck, this is happening. So
that's insane. Yeah, that's crazy. So that's going to be happening. I think that allowing the podcast time to breathe and having more time for us to do cool shit on the Patreon, like magic spells, we'll actually get to do magic together, which we were only doing for like maybe some big sabbats and things like that for like Samhain. And
like when you were in Texas, we were maybe doing it once every 3 months. And when you came here, not at all.
Yeah.
You've only done 1 spell together, 2 spells together since you've been here.
Yeah, like maybe New Year's stuff and maybe some Samhain stuff.
Yeah.
And so like just taking a little pause on main feed allows us to do more magic together.
Yeah.
And I think that's important because then I can really get those juices flowing.
Right. And it's healthy to kind of, I feel like I've kind of forgotten who I was in certain aspects. And we had always said with the podcast that it would be, we would keep doing this as long as we were happy and we still had a motivation. But I don't even want to and I'm super sad to say this, but we do it so hardcore for the podcast so that I'm getting tired of watching video after video on the paranormal, and I never thought that I would ever be there.
Right? Like, we almost burnt ourselves out. Like, I was feeling burnt out on topics of ghosts, too, only because I was like, do I have anything new to say?
Right. We're just repeating the same old story.
Yeah.
And that's not fair to you guys, and it's not fair to us. Like, I'm losing the one thing that I love.
Right.
I'm losing the happiness factor of it.
So, yeah, I think that it's just important for us to get that juices flowing, get it back.
Yeah.
I do have a new... Oh, what were you going to say?
Oh, I was like, and just reevaluate.
Reevaluate, yeah. When you were talking about magic and candles and stuff, it reminded me, I got this cool thing from the Goodwill the other day.
Oh.
I found, like, one of those little suitcases. It kind of looks like old and antique-y. And I was like... Two thoughts came to mind: vampire hunting kit,
yes,
and travel altar.
Yeah.
And so, like, looking and thinking what I wanted to do, I was like, I think I'm going to make this a travel altar, so that like when I am going to people's houses, like your house to do a ritual, or my boyfriend's house to do a ritual, like I'll just have some shit.
I love it.
And so, like, I want to like build in like a little shelf on the top, like suitcase thing. And add, like, little bottles and little chime candle holders and little incense things, and maybe get, like, a little smaller Ouija board. Just, I'm trying to think of things that would, like, fit in there and actually I would use. Like, I want it to be workable, and everything in there it's not just for a cute Instagram pic, it's to be used. Right.
You can get those little elastic things to hold the bottles.
Yeah.
Yeah. So cool.
So I'm thinking, like, maybe moon water, maybe some salt, like, and sage.
And what would you need in a traveling altar? Yeah.
Yeah, a god candle, a goddess candle. Like, I'm thinking small chime ones. And then I was even thinking, like, do I want to go to where everything in this box looks like almost aged, like it's all wooden and all old school and glass bottles, or do I want it to be like more modern and a hodgepodge? And so I could like really theme it out if I wanted.
Yeah.
And that's fun.
You could totally make it what you typically worship on a regular basis. You could have different ones.
Yeah, and I had a lot of, like, in my repertoire witch stuff, I have a lot of watery stuff, and I was like, oh, I could, like, theme this to be, like, the Water Witch's traveling altar, because I have, like, a beautiful blue pentagram and
so cool.
blue runes that are on amethyst and things like that, and it's been a while since I've had, like, my witch juices flowing, and I think this is what I need, because I am in a living situation where witchcraft isn't welcome.
Right.
I need a fucking travel box so that I can still feel that going. Like, it's been a year of me living in a place where I haven't felt fully free.
Right.
And that might be part of why I feel a little plugged up on the topic of witchcraft, is because I'm not living and breathing it the way I used to.
Right. So it's like losing a part of yourself.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's a lot of witches who maybe live at home who don't feel like they can have an altar. I've talked to many people who feel like they're not safe to have an altar, and what if someone comes over, like their parents, just for a visit, you know? And it's a shitty thing to feel, that you have to hide yourself and modify yourself for others' comfort constantly. So if you're out there listening, I can relate.
Yeah.
But you'll get through it. Like, you know, I try not to be judgmental even when people are judging me. Like, I try to just remind myself, well, I am living under their roof. I'll be respectful as much as I can and not let it bog me down or not let it ruin my relationships. Like, it's always harder to take the high road, but I think it's worth it for your own mental health.
Right.
You know?
Right. Your talk about finding that reminded me that Clarissa found, or we were trying to get enough candles to put into her seal.
Oh, okay.
And we had run out, and so we went to the thrift store and we bought a bunch of candles, and I kid you not, she probably bought 10 beautiful shaped candles that were maybe she paid $3 for all of them, which I was like, sweet, but they were in the shapes of like a star and a moon and the sun. It was like all different types of shapes, and so I just was like, you need this one and this one and this one. I just kept feeling them out and pulling them out, and she was like, thank you so much for finding these. Well, she finally burnt the first one, and out of it came trinkets. And she was like, each one of them has different trinkets in it. So she's putting these into the seal, right? And then out pops this.
That's so cute.
It was a little angel, a golden angel.
Oh my God.
And there was like a little golden clock and they were like charms that you could put on a bracelet.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was a little capsule, and when you opened the capsule up, it had a fortune in it.
Wow, that's so
Yeah.
fucking cool. So all of those things are in the seal?
All the things were in, well, she didn't put all the things in the seal. There was one thing that wanted to be in. She was like, it fell into the wax and I couldn't pull it back out. So I just knew that it would have to stay in there. I don't remember what it was.
Did you find them thrifting?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
You're making
so
me want to go thrifting as soon as we're done. I'm
it
like,
was just so cool to find. And we just found it at, I don't even remember which thrift store we were at. It wasn't Goodwill, I'll tell you that. It was just a small little hole-in-the-wall thrift store that we had. And I mean, our purpose for going to the store was to get the candles and find furniture for my daughter's apartment. And then, but we found the candles just shoved in a basket,
That's
mixed
so
in
cool.
with a bunch of other candles. And I was just like, these are the ones.
Yeah, when it comes to thrifting candles, like if they're not previously burnt and if they're not too dirty, like they can be a freaking steal. Like a
Yes.
bag of just like tapered candles for like $1 or $2.
Right. Or even
love
less.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. So totally.
Especially when you're just melting wax for a seal, that sounds like a really smart way to go.
Right. It was just so awesome. And I was like, what? There's special candles? Because those kind of candles are really expensive.
I've never heard of a trinket candle.
I have.
Really?
Yeah, I remember seeing them in the early 2000s, but I think then it was like, oh, burn this down and you can have like a ring in there that you're proposing to your girlfriend.
Whoa.
Yeah, or maybe you want to get yourself a special treat and this can be your treat, and it is like a necklace that you, that is for you to wear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cute.
Mm-hmm.
It reminds me of like little bath bomb things where
Yeah.
you like melt the bath bomb, you get something.
Mhm.
I feel like maybe I've seen crystals in candles. Maybe that's one thing I've seen.
Mm-hmm. Crystals,
that.
I've seen that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just amazed that these were just like, I guess maybe it would be a charm candle because it did look like everything could go on a bracelet.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, what?
I love shiny things and
Me
witchy
too.
things. Oh my god, like you're making me think of the store that I went to, the Crystal Mirror.
Uh-huh.
They had these candles that had little like trinkets around them for only like $10, and you could tell like it'd be like a moon or a star or whatever. Those were like necklace talismans, and I was like, you would pay $10 just for the talisman alone. Plus, you're getting a freaking candle.
Right. And I know because of years of talking with the lady who owns the store that she dresses every candle and she blesses every candle.
Are you serious?
Mhm.
That's
Every single
amazing.
one.
I got 2 purple candles from her.
Yeah.
I haven't burned yet, but I just was like, purple, here I am. They're
Yeah.
just like a sale, I'm getting them. So yeah, the amount of jewelry in that shop was insane.
Mm-hmm.
Insane. I love looking at little trinkets and things like that, and
Yeah.
I guess I'm a little materialistic inside.
That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. Well, this wasn't really our typical episode that we would normally do on the regular thing,
No.
but this is the kind of thing that we do on Patreon for our podcast episodes. I think those are going to be changing up so much now.
Yeah, I mean,
Like, I'm really excited to find this new venture.
right, because like
Mhm.
this will be fun for me to look forward to doing spells again. Like, I really have tried to tell myself I don't need that to be a witch, and try
Right.
to tell myself I don't have to have an altar to be a witch, because I wasn't allowed to have that really in my house. But to be able to look forward to doing spells together on the Patreon, like it's gonna
Yeah.
get me like hyped to be like, oh, what if we do this? What if we do this and do this? And it'll be exciting and fun and really cool to share with you guys. And we want to include the patrons in that process too. Like, we're just gonna play it by ear and keep evolving, you know.
Right. And maybe sometimes check on our YouTube, because who knows, I might be feeling generous and just
Release
throw
something.
release something over on there
Yeah.
that could potentially be an actual video.
Yeah, keep you know, watching, and we'll definitely post when we can and
Right. And
see
if-
what happens.
Right. And if we decide to do some fun everybody kind of thing, we'll post it on Instagram. And we'll even, when we're going to be posting anything in any of our websites or anything, I'll put something on Instagram that will auto feed into Twitter and Facebook. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's like one of my favorite witchy songs. May the circle be open but unbroken. May the peace of the goddess be forever in your heart. merry meet and merry part and merry meet again. So we'll meet again.
Yeah, that's how I feel too.
Yeah. We just gotta take a little break.
A little break. But we really appreciate all of you. We hope that you guys have learned much from our episodes. And if at any time that you want to get in contact with us, feel free. We are here. We're not gone.
That's right. You are part of this coven. Thank you guys so much for listening. It means a lot to us that you're out there and we're all together in this weird virtual coven space.
Yes. I guess that's it for today.
Yeah, that's it for today. All of our links are listed below if you're interested. We have pretty much all of our episodes are on YouTube. You can find us anywhere podcasts can be found. We'll still have our website, cousinscoven.home.blog, and the email, once again, is cousinscoven2@gmail.com. Send anything our way. We love hearing from you guys.
Yeah. And may you find happiness in your heart, love for yourself, and join each other. Blessings to all.